Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is another episode of Hong Kong House of Cards. Today we find ourselves with a new mage in the city. He's come here to do some business or whatever he plans on doing. Um, we'll start the scene at the local airport, and I will let him describe what his character is doing, what he looks like, etc. So go ahead.
An African man of average height arrives to Hong Kong airport. He seems to have a he seems to have personal business. He seems to have personal business upon arriving. Immediately stopping at a magazine at a magazine kiosk for the local paper.
Okay. Um, what languages do you speak? Do you speak Cantonese?
Yes.
Okay. The shopkeep will look at you and in Cantonese, like kind of shortly, not like super rude, but definitely it's clearly a problem. He'll just say, "This is a store, not a library."
And then she'll look at the person putting his card and say hello in Cantonese.
Please forgive. Please forgive me. I'm unfamiliar with the customs. I only recently arrived. I'm pretty sure you can see that I'm a foreigner.
He'll just nod.
How much does this cost? I've already been through the currency exchange. I'm sure it would be no problem for either of us.
He gives you the equivalent of like 50 cents in U.S. dollars. That's what he tells you. It's not like super expensive or anything. It's
The,
just
tra- the transaction is made. The equivalent is casually exchanged.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much for this. Can you? I'm sorry, but I'm having a little bit of trouble reading this character. Can you help me translate, please?
Yeah, absolutely, and he'll like kind of read over it with you. Um, Generally, the news that is in the newspaper is about the PLA, like the People's Liberation Army, doing random things. They've been showcasing Myrmidon suits and everything. Um, so basically, armored power suits, and apparently, pretty recently, there was a cemetery burned down, and the police are still on the lookout for him, or for the culprit.
Supernatural things might be.
This last story, what can you tell me about this? I wasn't really made aware of any recent news on my way here, and information is kind of regulated until you arrive.
Oh, that some punk burned down the local cemetery. We're not really sure why. They got a description. Actually, I think they got a artist rendering right there. And he'll look and he'll point at this picture.
They
It
actually
appears
have
to
a
be.
picture now.
Oh, do they actually have like a legitimate picture now? Did someone send them one?
There was a camera feed.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there'll be a picture of a. He looks like a child, completely covered up. He has a mask on, so you can't really get any defining features. But he doesn't. He's not dressed normally. Like it's very archaic, kind of looking.
So what's going on today?
Yeah, we're not really sure why he did it. They just rolled up, burnt down the cemetery, and people have been looking for him for a while now.
This liberation group, or what can you tell me about them?
And he just rolled in, took over the local government, and been pretty much running things
So
for a
they're in
while now.
so they're in charge of things as they are right now.
Yes, sir.
Do you have foreigners come through here often? Can you give me any advice for how to proceed?
It's been pretty more likely as of late. Just stay away from the triads. They'll give you like a general area, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but they tend to not like guilos. Um,
Guilo is foreigner.
yes,
Thank
anyone
you.
who's not help like kind of pinch his skin. He's clearly like a native.
Ah, yes, I believe I understand.
Um, but
Carolyn was actually.
Just as long as you keep your head down, don't get into too much trouble, you should be fine.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for sharing this with me.
Of course. Thank you for understanding earlier. And
Don't worry,
Before I go, I'm a little hungry. Exactly, what here is just something popular that you sell as a snack?
he'll kind of look behind his stand. I got some pork buns.
May I have one?
Absolutely. And there'll be like a transaction made. You've got enough resources to buy a pork bun, I'm sure.
Transaction rings up for 2 of them.
Yeah. Okay. So he'll put out 2. You're pretty hungry, aren't you?
It's a bit of jet lag. I'll say that much. I need the energy.
Understandable. You have a good day, sir.
You too, sir.
Okay. So as you are going out through customs and everything, you'll see a decently tall, probably like 6'2", 6'3", brown-haired, white guy. Looks about early 30s. He has a sign that says Mr. Sharpener on it.
The foreigner approaches. Excuse me, sir, but my name is, well, Sharpener. Are you the man who was assigned to be my driver?
Yeah, I'm Andrew Carpenter. It's nice to meet you. I've been
Just out of curiosity.
asked to bring you in with some more like us, and he'll kind of give you a knowing wink.
I understand.
Hopefully,
Well, let's be on our way then. Before we go,
or the drink for sure. She doesn't know those two.
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit for me.
before we get started, can you repeat your name for me, please, sir?
Andrew Carpenter.
Carpenter. Nationality?
Probably European. He's American born, but he's European features.
What is your nationality, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm from the States originally.
I'm sorry for prying. You're the
People under the hosts.
I'm a foreigner here. I think we've got to stick together.
That makes sense. It's good to get to know somebody who just shows up that you haven't met before. Or getting into a car with them.
Before that gets any more awkward, I'd like to shake your hand. He extends his hand.
He will give you a very firm handshake.
Sharpener shakes his wrist, trying to pretend it wasn't a bit too much for him. Quite the grip on you, son.
Oh yeah, I'm decently strong. Have to be with what I do.
All right. Let's talk about that a bit more along the ride, shall we?
Sounds good. And he will help you with any luggage you have and lead you to his car. Looks just like a decent sedan. Nothing too fancy, but comfortable. He'll start driving.
So exactly where are we headed at this moment, son?
Us disparates, I believe is the general term. We have a little meeting place. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of the other ones in the city so you can get some more information before you get set loose.
Very
That is
well.
all right.
Exactly what can you tell me about what we're passing? It seems like this area is not quite complex, but definitely need to know it, I believe.
I honestly don't come around here very often. I'm usually building stuff around the house or anything. I don't get out much. They just asked me to get you because I'm the most. They said I was the most personable. And he'll just kind of chuckle. Plus, Doc isn't in much of a state to drive anywhere.
I'm sorry, but I've yet to really have heard anything of our collaborators. I wasn't expecting a introduction of this sort.
It's kind of a recent thing. Doc and I came in pretty recently and quickly learned of another of our little alliance. Cited, better in numbers and everything. There's a few more disparate around the city, I believe, but
Of course. I once again thank you very much for this information. Is there anything else? Is there anything else you believe would be useful to know as we're going along?
yeah, we're actually passing it. He'll point at a museum. It's billed as a witchcraft and occult museum of Hong Kong. That is apparently, mind you, I haven't been there myself yet, but that is apparently a meeting place for us not so normal folk, not just will workers like you and I, but the shifters and the vampires and the like. There's a bit of an alliance going on in the city.
Seems like that's going to be the place everyone has to be more careful.
From what I've heard, they have a secure area where they can meet up and plan and collaborate and everything.
Would you describe any of these collaborations as tentative?
I feel like it's pretty tentative all around. Like I said, I haven't been in the city much myself, but
Of course.
an alliance between really any of us supernatural groups tends not to last very long, from what I've heard.
Exactly what have you heard?
Well, I've heard the werewolves and the vampires tend to hate each other. I've heard the fae and the vampires tend to hate each other. Really, I've heard just about everybody hates the vampires, but
What do you think of them?
I am not a fan. I'm a Templar, you have to understand, so I believe they are an affront to everything that is right. But until they have been hurting innocent people or anything, there's not much I can do about it.
That does seem like a very American attitude, innocent until proven guilty. Please forgive any perceived jingoism in that statement.
It's all fine. It's all fine.
He didn't need any help with
And,
anything else, so he almost always
Yeah, if you have any more questions, I would talk to I didn't design this NPC, so I have to actually look up the name. Sorry. I would talk to Fall Long. He's been in the city the longest. He's a bit of a local.
You said his name was Fao Long?
Yes, he's of the Wu Long.
I don't remember.
Exactly what is the nature of Mr. Fao Long's profession?
He is, from what I've told, he's just he invests heavily in his in the more magic side rather than anything mortal. I believe he's a consultant on a few things. I Ching teaches people every now and then, but as of late he's been a bit upset because the technocracy kicked him out of his old stomping grounds.
Perhaps I'll have to go speak with him in the near future. He sounds like a very enlightening fellow.
He's decent enough. I'm actually taking you to him along with Doc. The good doctor is one of the children of knowledge. He tends to spend most of his time on whatever drugs he can get his hands on or make. So I don't know how enlightening he'll be necessarily.
When you say that, just so we're clear, do you mean synthesizing or using?
Using, although he makes his own as well.
Well, I suppose it's nothing I shouldn't already be familiar with, but never quite get used to it either.
I'm not terribly used to it either, but he's the reason that we knew you were coming in the city. He tends to get visions whenever he's using his drugs.
Interesting.
There aren't any more questions. We'll go ahead and skip ahead to the house. If you do, go ahead and continue.
That's fine. Let's go ahead and skip.
Okay. You'll pull into it's not the best neighborhood. It's kind of a shabby-looking house. He will
But I can't remember the name.
park in the garage and go up to the door, hold it open for you. Home sweet home. She ain't much, but
Is this where I'll be staying for the time being?
if you choose, if you already have prior engagements, then you are of course welcome to stay wherever. But if you need somewhere to stay until you can get them set up, that's perfectly fine.
I understand. In the event that I stayed here, I would be responsible for my own safety. Is that correct?
We would all be working together to protect each other. I've got some wards up that have been keeping mostly angry spirits out, but if you can assist in any way, that would be much appreciated.
Of course, I'm more than willing to cooperate, but I must admit, I am worried about the area.
It's understandable. They tend not to mess with us very much. I don't know if that's an effect that someone's thrown up or not, but we haven't gotten too many bad things happening.
The clothes of the people around here. How often does anyone walk around in a suit?
Not very often. They tend to avoid this area.
I'll probably have to get some new clothes then. It seems I'll stick out like a sore thumb. If my skin hadn't marked me as that already.
Right. The suit definitely would not help. They might pick you as a target.
I sure warn you guys, this person is a very dangerous individual. Is he on?
Is there anything you'd recommend to bypass that, aside from, well, some new clothes?
I'm sure the clothes will go a long way towards fixing that. How tall, like how big is your character? Is he kind of lean or?
He'd have a lean and athletic build.
Okay.
He's got physicality of one. I forget the exact stat. Basically, he has the average person's strength.
Okay.
He's obviously not an athlete, but he's not incapable either.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he's of average height, so he might stand out a bit more when compared to a native. That's about it.
Okay. And you might intimidate a couple people just by looking the way you do. They're not exactly the most friendly group to outsiders.
Yes, that is one of my larger concerns. Looking the way I do, I can't imagine it'll be easy for anyone to just come right up and speak to me.
Do you speak the local language?
I speak Cantonese, and I'm passable in any of the other languages.
He'll nod. You've already got a step above me. All I speak is English.
I had to take care of those
So this kind of
heroes.
Well, you speak it very well.
I should hope so.
My sister.
If I speak
That was the right response, son.
Full of blood.
No. He'll just kind of call, "How long, Doc? We have a Mr. Sharpner here." And he'll just kind of smile at you. I'm gonna go get food ready. They'll be with you shortly.
All right, thank you very much.
As you look around the room, it's kind of sparsely decorated. This is clearly like the living room equivalent. There's a couple couches, a TV, a cheap like desk and stuff. Completely mind blank for a second. I'm sorry. A shorter Asian man dressed in kind of more robe-ish. He's wearing robes essentially, very elaborate, well-decorated robes. He will walk up. Are you Mr. Sharpner?
Yes. Would that make you Mr. Falong?
Yes, indeed. I'm Falong, Dragon Master of the Wulong. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is all mine. I do want to apologize. I'm not quite sure what the custom is here. My first instinct is to extend for a handshake, but I'm not really sure if anything different is done here.
Handshake will be fine. A bow will be fine. Just as long as we are knowing of your intentions.
He bows.
Falon will bow back. I understand you're new to the city.
That is correct.
Well, as I'm sure Mr. Carpenter has explained, you are welcome to stay here until you get engagements arranged. This is not the best place for our works, but
I do appreciate that. I'm actually hoping to find a domicile of my own sooner than later.
it's understandable. I would not be staying here either if I had much of an option. I'll just kind of look around the room, looking slightly disappointed.
I don't believe I understand, sir. You say you don't have much of an option?
I've been removed from my place of power by the technocracy under the guise of the PLA, and I'm not very happy about it.
Please forgive me for prying. I understood that I understood that statement to mean you to be a bit more literal, and that you were unhappy with this particular residence.
I am, but I'm trying to keep a little under the radar.
Of course, anything larger might attract attention.
He'll nod. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Perhaps it's better if I do find lodging quickly. Given my appearance, I believe I will attract a bit of attention to your home as well.
That is your choice. We have, as Mr. Carpenter explained, the defenses we have around.
I'm sure the defenses are adequate, but I'm sure you'll understand if I don't want to be the one to test that.
He'll nod. Much wisdom. Something that could be would be nice if we saw it from the others. And he'll just kind of look towards the kitchen where Andrew is cooking, then look back towards another room, and kind of grumble something under his breath.
Experience doesn't always harden a man. Sometimes it makes him softer. And well, wisdom comes with experience, and not every experience is one you can learn from. That's just the sad truth of youth. And please forgive me for rhyming.
He'll just kind of chuckle. Yes. Have you been informed of the accord and everything?
I believe Mr. Carpenter and I spoke of it in part on the right here, but I would like to hear a bit more from you. Admittedly, I do have quite a bit that I don't know.
Yes, we have a agreement, the Tarot Accord. Essentially, all of us, or supernatural folks, have banded together to fight off the technocracy. If it works, it works, but in my experience, it hasn't worked as well as it should. He'll look around the room again. There are generally weekly meetings. They have a council. It is us. We are the House of Pentacles, the Will Workers and whatnot. They're the House of Staves. They are your vampires. The House of Swords. They're your shifters. The House of Cups. They are of the Fae. And then there's the host, the Kuei Jin.
I did hear something of the triad and some territorial posturing. Do they have any stakes? Do they have any stakes or interest in the Accord?
To my knowledge, no. They do not even have a knowledge of it. They are generally mortals. Do understand, this information does not leave Hong Kong.
I assume that if it were shared, I would not leave Hong Kong either.
He'll nod. There's a council. They have many positions that are there to fulfill many roles, one of which is death. I'm sure you can guess from the name what they are in charge of.
They sound like very nice people.
I like you. You have a good sense of humor.
I appreciate that. I've always come to find that that when things are tense, when things are tense, if you can't say the right thing, it may not always hurt to say the wrong thing.
He'll kind of chuckle. Indeed. Let me introduce you to our other local member. There's a few more, but they're not around right now. We'll take you into a back room and kind of hesitate slightly before knocking on the door. Doctor, are you in any state to speak to our new guest? There will be kind of small rumblings and ravaging, and the door will be opened by an older-looking man, early 40s, but he looks like he's much older. He's kind of getting... His hair's grown out, is very scruffy. He's not... Clearly doesn't take care of himself. Yeah. Is this the guy that I saw? Yes, Doc. This is the man. Mr. Sharpner, this is the good doctor. That is what he has requested we call him. He is of the Children of Knowledge.
It's very good to make your acquaintance, Doctor. I'm told that you seem to know quite a bit about the happenings around, or I'm told that's what the kids call it.
Yeah. I'm kind of a pusher. I'm kind of I do some stuff. I get visions. He'll hold out his hand. It's pretty clearly shaking. Nice to meet you. You got a first name?
Yes. My name is Martin.
Good to meet you, Martin. Good to meet you. I'm the doctor. Good
Nice
doctor.
to meet you. Are we interrupting anything? Did you have something scheduled, Doctor?
No. I'm just. What was I doing?
I'm unable
Visions.
to answer that question for you.
Visions. That's what I was doing. Visions. I need to get back to it, and he'll just reach his hand back in, make sure you're clear of it, and then slam the door. You'll have to forgive him. He's a little twitchy.
Did he see this in a vision?
He might have. He definitely saw you entering the city. That's how we knew you were coming.
I can't shake the feeling he already had some idea of how this was going to happen. He may not have cared for that reason.
It's very possible. He's a good man, but he has some
Idiosyncrasies.
Yes, that's a good word to put for it.
Yes. Well, different strokes for different folks. And I suppose nothing can be gained if everything is homogeneous.
1 second.
Stacy was trying to speak to the really hot light about the fire.
I'm doing an intro because I can't really. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. Are there any other residents that I need that you believe it would be wise for me to meet at the moment, Mr. Furlong?
No other residents, although there are a few more of my affiliation around the Wulong. They tend to keep to themselves. We'll probably meet Mr. Crispin at a certain point. He is on the council himself.
Of course.
There's another who's been staying in the burnt down cemetery. We warned him that it'd be dangerous, but the spirits seemed to leave him alone.
I did read about that in the newspaper when I arrived at the airport. By any chance, does this fellow at the cemetery seem young to you?
No, I've seen the description of the man that they believe burnt down the cemetery. It is not the same man, I assure you. For one thing. Oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, you go first.
For one thing, he's much taller.
Given the nature of our various fields of interest, one can't always simply put that past the mind.
This is true, but he has been very respectful towards the spirits, and I do not believe if he had anything to do with it, there would be much he could do to stop them from ripping him apart. There's not much you can do to pull the dead after all.
It sounds almost as if he said has a soothing presence to them based on your description.
It's entirely possible. I have not gotten a chance to speak with him enough since he came to the city. But,
is he a private fellow or just hard to get a hold of?
You'd probably be able to get a hold of him easily. I've just been staying here trying to keep things running properly.
Of course. Please do let me know if there's anything I can do to assist you in that regard.
He'll nod. It's appreciated. And if you need assistance gaining lodgings or meeting with people, just let me know. I have a few contacts.
Yes, the lodgings will have to come first. The lodgings will have to come first, and if there's any way we can make that a mutually beneficial experience, I would be glad to exchange views.
He'll nod. It would be highly appreciated. And he'll hold his hand out. I believe this is your custom.
He extends his hand and meets the grip. That's quite correct. You'll have to forgive if my handshake is a little limp. I exchanged gestures with Mr. Carpenter earlier and was quite shocked.
Yes, he's very strong. I believe he's the main reason we haven't been hit up by local gangs recently.
I believe I understand why he was sent to collect me.
Can't think of anything else that really needs to happen unless you have more questions.
I'm allowed to stay here. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. We may have to make it's not going to be the most comfortable arrangement, and I apologize for that, but
of course,
resources are rather limited.
Of course, beggars can't be choosers. While I am staying, I am a man of means. If there are any supplies or even just what you would like to see in the refrigerator, please let me know. Consider it my gift to you for your kindness.
Of course, and if you require assistance finding anything or getting around, just let one of us know. I would suggest either myself or Mr. Carpenter. The good doctor is not exactly well, you've met him, you understand.
He's certainly not a bad man, but I believe if I traveled with him, I might attract quite a bit more attention than I wish.
Indeed.
Is there a room prepared for me to stay, or should I just find a place to rest my head?
And we had an extra room. I've been in the process of getting it fixed up for you. I wasn't able to get quite done, but you at least have your bed and a place to put your things until you can find more lodgings.
That's all I really need. I like to live as quite the Spartan, if you'd believe that.
Excellent. And he'll lead you to your room. This is where you can stay. If you require anything, just let us know. I'll let you unwind.
I appreciate that. Oh, I picked up a few things at the airport aside from the newspaper. You can feel free to thumb through that if you would like, but I don't really think I'll be able to finish these pork buns I bought. You feel free to have one, and could you find out if Mr. Carpenter would like one? Both of you have been very helpful to me, and I would like to offer those to you. I think I should just go lie down.
He'll nod. Have a good rest, and he'll take the pork buns.
Thank you for that.
There will be a light discussion held between him and Mr. Carpenter, but nothing you could really overhear, really.
Of course.
And I guess we can call it good at that. It's kind of a low-key scene, unless there's anything else you want to get done.
No, that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you player for playing. Thank you, watchers that were in the hangout watching. There's been another episode of Hong Kong House of Cards. Have fun, everybody.